Republican Congresswoman Elise Stefanik spoke at an upstate rally on Thursday promoting a slate of New York GOP candidates. Stefanik is a top-ranking member of the House Republican leadership and a major congressional ally of former President Trump. She sounded an optimistic tone about Republicans' chances in the midterms and attacked typical GOP targets like President Biden, Chuck Schumer, and Speaker Pelosi. Should Republicans retake the House, Stefanik would immediately become one of the most powerful federal politicians as Republican conference chair. She is considered a major rising star in the Republican Party.
We have seen the disasters under single-party Democrat rule in both Washington and Albany, and it has failed New Yorkers, and it has failed the American people. The inflation crisis. Everywhere I go in my district, everyone I talk to across this country and across this great state are suffering with the highest rate of inflation in my lifetime. And we know it's a direct result of the trillions of dollars of reckless spending in Albany and Washington. We will stop the reckless spending to rein in inflation, to stand up for hardworking taxpayers and stand up for New Yorkers. And on top of the inflation crisis, we have a crime crisis in this state. And it is a direct result of the defund the police policies and rhetoric from today's Democrat Party. And Kathy Hochul has embraced and is the leader of the defund the police Democrat Party, of the failed bail reform Democrat Party. In New York, we back the blue, and we're going to speak loudly and clearly come Election Day in 5 days. I know in this crowd today there are so many law enforcement officers, so many law enforcement families, so many law enforcement retirees. Let's give them a big New York thank you for their service. Republicans, we are going to work as one team to take back our streets, to stand up for the safety and security of every community across this great state and every community across this nation. But in addition to the inflation crisis and the crime crisis, do you believe your constitutional rights have been under attack in New York State? Raise your hand. They have been. They have been under Kathy Hochul, under Chuck Schumer, and under Democrat one-party rule in Washington. And we will proudly stand up for your constitutional rights, including our Second Amendment, which is so important to every American and every New Yorker. How about a government that's accountable? That would be nice, accountable to the people and not the other way around. You know, I will tell you, in Washington, this is the first time this has ever happened. Nancy Pelosi, when constituents visit their member of Congress, they have to submit their names to Nancy Pelosi's office for approval. Folks, that's not how it works. So you see the corruption in Washington, but we see the corruption in New York State. Kathy Hochul is the height of corruption. She embodies the cesspool of corruption that have riddled Albany Democrats for years. And we have got to fire them and elect a Republicans up and down the ballot, because it's we the people. They work for us, not the other way around. Now, let me tell you, upstate New York, we have a really important job to deliver this victory to save our state. I am asking you to put it all on the line. Make sure everyone turns out to vote. In my district, New York's 21st district, we have made history with the highest turnout the past few election cycles. And I am asking you, we need to do that again all throughout upstate New York and this great state to make sure that we stand up for hardworking New Yorkers. It is a rescue mission to save our state. Can you do that, upstate New York? Well, I'm counting on you, and you've never let us down, so I know we will be key to electing Republicans up and down the ballot. And I am so excited to introduce our next guest and the next governor of New York State. But let me talk about Lee. Let me talk about how tremendous Lee is. Lee is a dedicated father, of two wonderful twin daughters who he is so proud of every day. I've watched them grow up. We were first sworn into office together. We were elected in 2014, and we both flipped districts from Democrat to Republican. So we know how to win. We know how to win in upstate. We know how to win on Long Island. We know how to win everywhere in New York State. In addition, Lee served in the U.S. Army and is a proud veteran and works every single day to stand up for veterans. And that is so meaningful to this district in upstate New York. Do you know in New York State, there are more veterans in New York's 21st Congressional District than anywhere else in the state? And we want to thank them for their service. When Lee told me he was running for governor, that was almost 2 years ago at this point. And I believed that we had a once-in-a-generation opportunity to win back our great state. And he has crisscrossed every single county in this state. Even better than Chuck Schumer, who talks about visiting every county throughout the year. Lee Zeldin has visited every county twice in this past year. So that's called a full Zeldin with your candidates, and that's the type of energy and enthusiasm he is going to bring as our governor. In addition, Lee is one of the most effective members of Congress. Whether it's standing up for New York's taxpayers, Lee has never voted to raise taxes. And I'll tell you what, in New York, our taxes are way too high. It's leading to out-migration from our state. People are saying to us on the campaign trail that this is their last chance. Otherwise, they feel they will have to move and follow that mass exodus of so many small businesses, so many seniors, so many hardworking families. And folks, that has to stop. The way that stops is electing a Republican governor. So, I'm going to end where I started before I introduce our next guest. Are we going to fire Nancy Pelosi? Are we going to fire Chuck Schumer? Are we going to fire Tish James? And most important, are we going to fire Kathy Hochul? I am so honored to introduce our special guest, the next governor of New York State, Lee Zeldin.